GROW stands for Getting Rid of Weeds. It's a brand name that we've given ourselves as a USDA area-wide funded integrated weed management team. And so we have researchers and extension specialists across 3 cropping regions here, as well as social scientists and economists in the western part of the nation. So what are we doing at GROW trying to pursue more adoption of integrated weed management techniques? The first thing is our website. That's integratedweedmanagement.org. So this is really kind of our home base where we have our information and accessible and that type of thing. So it's a centralized source of reliable integrated weed management information. We acknowledge that there's a lot of good content out there across various platforms, and so we've linked and shared existing materials. We're also in the process of doing that. We see that there's some gaps in that, and so we're trying to create some new original content to fill those voids. We have a spot where you can ask questions and participate in discussions about integrated weed management techniques. That hasn't been well utilized to date, but we're hoping that as the website grows and more users interact with it, that will grow. You can also read or subscribe on articles and then learn what herbicide-resistant weeds are in your state right now. So here's a screenshot of the website a few days ago. You see the fairly typical layout, home, and then various tabs across the top here. And I'll just kind of hit on our weed management toolbox. You've got these various prevention, biological, herbicides, cultural, etc. And then within that, there's several different topics. So if we click on cover cropping, this page comes up. There's a nice synopsis of it, and then links to more information at the bottom. Okay, so we're also on social media, both our Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you'd like to follow us, we're at Get Rid of Weeds or Get Rid of Weeds on Facebook. And our social media campaign is kind of has 2 or 3 targets, depending on how you're looking at some of these. But first thing we want to do is to drive users to our website when we do it. Okay. The other thing we're doing is decision support tools, and we're trying to develop these. There's 2 of them that I'll talk about. The first is an effective site of action app. So we're trying to develop this as a mobile app or web-based decision support tool. There's plenty of reasons why. We saw some of those, but I think, first of all, we're meeting farmers where they are, right? They're spraying herbicides. We're focused on that. Can we tweak that practice to improve it and get better outcomes? We see from our survey data that there's a common misunderstanding on which practices are or which modes of action are effective in certain situations. We've also seen from Frisball's data that sometimes rarely or seldom practiced. There are tools that exist, and I think these are good tools, such as Take Action, Site of Action Lookup Tool, but they don't consider the effectiveness. So this has also been called on for by other research groups. So our goal here is just to lead users to, when they look at their herbicide program, what is their risk, and ultimately to improve the herbicide selection. These inputs, and then basically they're going to get out what are the number of effective sites of action for that weed and that herbicide application. That's going to fall into a risk category, which is just going to be a stoplight type criteria. Red, bad, stop this practice. Green, this is recommended. And then the third point is we're going to try to link to, okay, in this situation, we would recommend you have more effective modes of action. What are those options? And just have a list of options that would increase those effective sites of action. The last decision support tool is expansion of existing PAM, which is Palmer Amaranth Management. And so this was developed in the Mid-South for Palmer Amaranth Management, looking specifically at seed bank dynamics and economics returns. And so part of this expansion is going to be to more geographical areas, such as ourselves in the Northeast, creation of more modules in there, so it try to include tillage and cover crops, and then use those as develop educational material out of it. You can interact with this, follow us on social media. We're looking for collaborators, and of course, if you see something that you think is worth funding, we're all ears.